Okay, guys, so this is part two of my financial health series. And in this video, I want to talk about mortgages versus renting. Um, Not so much as to what best works for you, but where do you see yourself in 20 years? Where do you see yourself in 30 years, in 10 years? Um, I feel like it's just the other day I was 20 years old. Just the other day I was 30 years old. Just the other day I was 40 years old. And now I'm 48. So in a few years, I should be looking to retire, right? But I still have a big mortgage. And I asked myself the other day because I meet a lot of people in the housing market, and I noticed that I meet a lot of elderly folks in their 70s and 80s who still have a pretty sizable mortgage payment to make. And I said to myself, oh my gosh, I don't want to be that person where I still have to work so hard to pay my mortgage or my rent, or where I have to use the majority of my social security or my pension to pay just my mortgage or rent. Now, if you're renting, you need to ask yourself, where do you see yourself when you get to age of 60? Where do you see yourself when you get to age 70? Are you still going to be renting? Um, is there no other option for you? And if so, what are your plans to mitigate that rental fee, or what are your plans? Because if you're renting, technically you don't really have much control as to how much you have to pay to your landlord. They're the one that dictate that, unless you're in some kind of long-term contract where your rent don't increase. um, so you need to think about that. What are your options, and how do you plan on paying your rent when you get to a certain age? Now, I know some of you probably thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not going to think about that right now. Well, let me tell you, you better start thinking about it, especially if you're younger. If you're in your 20s and 30s, time is on your side, and you need to start thinking about your living, how you want to live when you get to that age. Now, we don't know how old we're going to live to be. I don't know, you know, when my time's going to be up. Only God knows that. I could live to be 50, 60, 70. I could live to be damn near 90. That's that's not my decision to make. But in the meantime, I need to plan on living long and having a long life. And in so doing, I need to figure out when I want to stop paying my mortgage. Now, I have a mortgage, and I met this couple, and they didn't have a mortgage on their house. And I was like, wow, that is so impressive, because it is so rare these days to find that, especially for those of us that move around a lot. Back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, people rarely moved. They stayed in one place. Like, I could go home and I would find the same people living in the same place from since I was a little girl. You rarely find that anymore. People move a lot. So there comes a time in life when you got to decide, okay, this is where I'm going to stay. Now, I don't know if this is where I am going to stay. However, at one point in time, I said to myself, you know what? When I get to a certain age, like when I get to age 65, 65 is when I think I should be able to retire. So I said, if I still have a mortgage at 65, which I will, because this mortgage doesn't expire until when I'm age 75, because I refinanced. So I don't want to be paying a mortgage when I'm 75, when I'm 70, when I'm 60. I want to be done by age 65. So at one point in time, I was like, you know what? I'll just do a reverse mortgage when that time gets here and say, fuck it, whatever. Let the bank pay me to live here. That is a risky move. Well, one, my home here doesn't qualify because you have to, where you live has to be FHA approved in order to qualify for a reverse mortgage. So here doesn't qualify. So in order for me to even consider that option, I would need to move somewhere else. So we don't want to think about the option right now. Right now, I want to think of how I can pay off this mortgage by the time I'm age 65. Because when I get to 65, sure, I'll work, but I don't want to have to work to pay a mortgage. I don't want all the money that I'm working for is going towards paying the mortgage. So I use the online calculator. As a matter of fact, I went to my mortgage website and they had an online calculator, and I input my numbers. As a matter of fact, everything pre-populated onto their website, because obviously they already have all my numbers. And I was able to determine how much I need to pay extra each month in order to shave 10 years off my mortgage, because that's what I want to do. I want to shave 10 years. And it gave me that number, and I am going to make a damn good effort to do that, because guys, let me tell you, we think age 60, age 65, age 70 seem far away, but it's not. And you have to think about the quality of life that you want when you get to that age. And like I said it before in my other video, a goal without a plan is just a wish. I wish to pay off my mortgage early, but if I don't put a plan in place now, it's not gonna happen. So that's the second thing that I have decided to do, to pay extra towards my mortgage so that I can pay it off early. If you're renting, you don't have that option. So you have more thinking to do, and you have to decide if you don't have any option, like you live in a city where it's just damn near impossible to buy because it is so expensive, then you really got to come up with a lucrative saving plan so that when you get older, you're not depending on your kids or relatives to help you live. If you're like me and you're a very independent person, you need to plan from now. No matter what age you are, the younger you are, the more time you have, and you're in a better position to do so. So that is the second thing that I am doing, and I hope that it inspires you guys to look into how you can avoid having such a sizable debt when you get whatever age you decide. Me, I decide 65. That's it. Part 3 will be up shortly. In part 3, I am going to talk about credit.